Hello everyone. In today's lecture, we are going to understand the concept of interrupts and polling. But before that, let me ask you a question. Do you know how your computer knows when a USB is plugged in? Or how your phone checks for a new notification? Yes, that's where interrupts and polling comes into the picture. Now let us understand this concept deeply. So, polling. In polling, CPU repeatedly checks if a device needs attention, while in interrupt, device notifies the CPU only when it needs help. So, in a real world, I can say you that polling is like checking your phone every 5 seconds for a message. Yes, that's correct. An interrupt is like you kept your phone aside, and when a message arrives, your phone starts buzzing. Let's simplify this with a real world example. So here, as you can see that polling is like someone checking their mailbox again and again even when it's empty. On the other hand, interrupts are like a postman ringing the bell only when mails arrive. This shows how interrupts notify the CPU only when it needed, while polling keeps asking repeatedly. It's quite annoying, right? So let us understand this features of polling and interrupt. So in polling, CPU is constantly busy. As I told you that CPU is constantly checking whether there is a message or not, right? So the CPU usage is high in polling, while in interrupt it focuses on the other task and respond only when needed. That means the CPU usage is efficient, right? The response time in polling, it is delayed because after a particular time frame it will again and again check, whereas an interrupt, it will give you a prompt response. Polling, that is simple to implement, while interrupt is slightly complex. The example of pollings are timer loops, keyboard checks, while for interrupt, it's a USB plugging or network alerts. For example, I can say you that a basic embedded system, right? That embedded system is checking if a button is pressed. Every second it is checking, right? So that is the example of polling, right? On the other hand, when a keyboard when a key is pressed, right? If you are having a keyboard, right, that is plugged in, and when a particular key is pressed, right, it immediately notifies the CPU, right? So that is the example of interrupt. Understood? So polling wastes time when nothing is happening, while interrupt is efficient. A CPU does other work and respond only when it's needed, right? So in the real world examples I told you, again this is Arduino loops, then simple games when again and again as a particular time of frequency it keeps on checking. An interrupt, that is USB plug detection or a real-time system like ECG or airbag system in your cars. So that is about polling and interrupt. So in a summary I can say that polling wastes time and energy, while interrupt saves both, making your system more efficient. But ultimately you need to choose it based on your application. So I hope you understood this quick concept of polling and interrupt. Thank you very much.